We're going to start right away. First thing, hello. My name is Dr. Klepak, Tom Klepak. You can call me as you are comfortable. Professor Klepak, Tom is fine by me. What do you think? How good at reading food labels are you? Who's good at that? Who thinks they're good at that? Is anybody good at reading food labels? It's okay to say that you are.
I don't know if I'm good at it, but I actually read them a lot because I have an allergy to tree nuts, so I read them a lot.
That's good to know, and I'm going to collect that kind of information later. I actually do need to know that sort of stuff. Okay, so one person has said that they may or may not be good at it, but at least they do it. Does anybody else consistently read food labels? A couple, 2, 3, 4, a smattering of people, maybe just a few. Well, here, look at this. Let's read it together. Ingredients: water, 75%. Well, that doesn't sound too bad. Seems like I'm about to drink 3/4 of a glass of water here. 12% of it is sugar. Okay, so some sweet water. Okay, and what does that mean? What does sugar mean? Well, we have glucose is 48% of that 12, and then fructose. I don't know. Do I know what fructose is? Am I sure what I know what that is? I hear about it all the time. And then sucrose, glucose, fructose, and sucrose. I've heard those sugars. Maybe I know what they are, maybe I don't. But then there's a little bit of maltose in there, and then some starch. All that's included under the sugars. Starch. I didn't realize starch was a sugar. Well, we'll figure out what that means in a bit. And then it goes on to talk about fiber. Fiber, 3% of what we eat is fiber. And oh, smokes, look at that. Geez, E460, E461, E462. Now I'm starting to get a little lost, right? I don't know what the hell that means at all. I'm just putting myself, trying to imagine myself in your position, right? And then amino acids. Okay, well, I've heard of those. And it goes on to list what are apparently a bunch of amino acids, a whole slew of them: glutamic acid or aspartic acid. Oh, wow, phenylalanine, is that how you say that? Tryptophan. Whoa, there's like 5 consonants at the beginning of that word. And then we move on to these fatty acids. 1% of this thing is fatty acid. And more words I've never really seen. Maybe omega-6 fatty acid, omega-3 fatty acid. Maybe I've heard about that. Maybe on the news or something. Like, I want to eat omega-3 fatty acids. Maybe you've heard that. Maybe you haven't. Fish, it's in fish, right? Maybe I've heard that. Fish oil, good. Omega-3 fatty acids. All this other stuff. Holy smokes! There's less than 1% of ash. I'm about to eat some ash. Jesus, what am I getting into here? And then all these colors, yellow, orange, E101, otherwise known supposedly as riboflavin. Okay, well, riboflavin, I've seen that on the box of my Wheaties or whatever. Maybe I'll trust that. Yellow, brown, E160A. Who feels like they had some yellow, brown E160A for breakfast? Does anybody think they had any of that? No one had any yellow, brown E160A for breakfast. And it's like, it gets worse, the end of it. Jesus, ethylene gas? No, ethene gas. Ethene gas. Whatever we're eating has some ethene gas in it. Does anyone want to take a wild stab as to what this food is? Just take a guess. It doesn't matter. I appreciate that it's a guess. How about, who wants to guess whether they think it is like in the broad realm of foodstuffs? Is this some sort of like cracker? Is it, yeah. Maybe a sports drink, okay. And what are you basing that on? Okay, right? So there's a lot of water in this, and there's sugar and some amino acids, the kinds of things that you may want to replenish your body with after some exercise. Huh? It's a really good guess. That's a really good guess, actually. Anyone? It's not that at all. But you are in the right ballpark. Yes.
Jello?
Again, getting kind of close. Now, why do you say Jello?
Water, sugar, and then all the colors. I feel like there's a lot of weird.
Mm-hmm. What is in Jello? What is in Jello that we? Were you the one that said you like to read labels?
I don't know if I like it. I do it.
Have you ever made Jello?
I'm not. No.
Oh, does anybody want to? Has anyone made Jello before? Jello is a little weird. Yeah. So what? Have you ever looked at the label on the Jello to see what's in there? Gelatin. Yeah, there's gelatin in Jello. That's mostly what it is. Oh, geez, gelatin. What is gelatin? It's a story for another day. But do we see gelatin on this list? No. Gelatin was a good guess, though, in that one of the reasons I can say that it's not a sports drink is that it's only 75% water. A sports drink is going to be like 99% water. It's going to be mostly water, right? This thing, it's only 75% water. It's actually probably not a liquid. It's not a liquid. It's a solid of some sort. But there's a lot of water, so it's a kind of semi-solid, close to Jello. Close to Jello. Anyone else want to make it, try to hone in? How about this one? Do you think it's a natural product or like a processed food? Is it a natural food or a processed food? Okay, who says it's processed? Okay, and why? So there's like a good group of you. So it's a processed food. Why do you think it's processed? Yeah. Look at you. You used a great term there. You're really going for it from the corner. Oh, you said ripening agent. You said ripening agent. Ethene gas. Now, you say that that's associated with a processed food. How did you know that was a ripening agent? Oh, does it? Damn. Right. Right, it does. Yeah, it does. In fact, you're right about that. Should read the label better. But it says a natural ripening agent. This is what a banana is. This is a banana. That's a banana. Did anyone, was that like shocking to anybody? A few people? Shocking to a few people? Yeah, we can break a banana down into these components here. We can talk about the biochemicals that make up a banana. You eat a banana and it seems like, oh, this is like an elemental thing, right? A banana comes off of a tree from on high in this perfect state of banananess, right? But it's really just a composite of different biochemicals from a food perspective, right? It seems maybe alternately more complex and simple than that. Like there are cells, and it comes from this organism and the life of the banana tree gathering sunlight and producing this thing, this yellow handy package with its own container, peel, right? But from the body's perspective, we're going to consume that. We're going to break it down, and we're going to utilize this stuff. All this stuff that's in here is going to get utilized by the body. There are colors in it. Bananas are yellow. It's not an accident that it's yellow. There are actual specific chemicals in the banana that make that banana yellow. In fact, there's a lot of stuff. This is even a radical simplification of what a banana actually is. Banana is far more sophisticated than this because all of these amino acids all of those amino acids that you see there, what did we say? Well, it doesn't give the actual percentage of it that's amino acid. But it's, I don't know, maybe like 10%, something like that by mass. All of those amino acids make up thousands of proteins that all have different jobs in the banana that make that banana the banana that it is, right? That make it able to live its life, be part of this greater organism of the banana plant, etc. Right? So we're breaking it down into the way our body would see that, the way our digestive tract sees all those enzymes. Those enzymes, they're going to get broken down into these amino acids and then utilized and assimilated. That's the process of absorption, where our body takes all of that stuff and makes it us, all of what we are. All right? So, biochemistry of food. It's this process of looking at food and thinking about the biochemicals that are in it, and why are they there? How did they get there? Where are they going as food? How is our body using it? All right. So today I'm really just going to give an introduction to the class, cover some like housekeeping stuff, cull information from you. There's a lot of information I need from you to be able to do the class the right way. And then if there's time at the end, I am going to go over a little bit of very fundamental background, chemistry background, because I don't want to assume that anybody knows something about science, all right? Much, at least, about science. I'm going to assume that you're non-science majors. Yeah. And so I guess before I go through all this point breakdown in the class, I wanted to give you my philosophy a little bit, like why I think I'm here, why I'm in this class. I'm here because I like teaching. Not only do I like teaching to non-science majors, I think it's one of the like most sacred duties that I have as a scientist. Right? It's really fun teaching in the science department to science students. I love that. That's really cool. But they are the minority. There's fewer of them than there are of you. There's a lot more of you. When I look out at you, what do I see? I see everything. I see everything. I see everyone, right? Everyone in our society that is in a society that is undergirded by science and technology. Not just food. Yeah, everybody eats food. But we're in a society that is constructed by, driven by science, where the scientific mindset, the scientific thinking, the process of science is embedded deeply into our humanity, right? Science, the humanities distinguishes itself from the sciences by calling itself the humanities, but don't fool yourself for a moment into thinking that science is not already enmeshed in the fundamental thinking processes of a modern human being. All humans think at some point in the scientific way, right? And so what I want is to help you understand that a little bit better, more explicitly. We live in, sadly, an era of post-fact, right? People can just get up with any megaphone and say something, and because they've said it or they've printed it somewhere on the internet or wherever, because it's been uttered, suddenly it has credence. Suddenly it has traction. Thankfully, we have the scientific process. We have the scientific process that has very time-worn, time-honored methods for establishing actual verifiable facts, for divining the truth. I'm good. Divining the truth in a situation. This is important. It's so important. It's so important. I can't give you the body of scientific knowledge. I can't do that. I don't have it. But I do have a firm grasp of the scientific process. And when I want to know something, when I want to understand something that I train my attention to, it is a process that doesn't fail me. It's a process that doesn't fail me, and it won't fail you either. It informs a healthy sense of skepticism, so that when I look at something, do I believe this or not? Is this crap? What's the right choice here? I'm a voter. I'm going to vote on something. My community wants to bring in this high-intensity salmon farming facility. How do I feel about that? So there's emotions and sociological things. People need jobs, economic consideration. What's the science behind it? What are the ramifications of this choice that I'm going to make? Can I transcend the raw feeling, the emotional feeling that I may have that comes from other social context? Can I use my sense of science and fact to make the kinds of decisions I need to make as a citizen? So that's one of my goals here, is to give you a sense of what science actually is. Give you a little taste of how it works. Help you to think in a scientific way. All right? And I'm using biochem of food as a vehicle because it is, I think that you guys should know about the second law of thermodynamics. And you should know, as educated college students, you should understand the fundamental theorem of calculus. And you should understand the basics of the theory of evolution, right? Like there's all this body of scientific knowledge that I think is very important. I can't give you all that, but I can give you something that you will use in all of your lives. Everybody eats. Everybody eats. And it's actually a pretty radical thing. It's a pretty radical thing in this corporatized industrial food complex in which we are all encased. It's a pretty radical thing to have sort of food sovereignty over your own body, making informed, constructive choices that have ramifications for your own health, that have ramifications for your own sense of well-being and joy, your fundamental humanity that comes with sharing food with others. And then the aspects of sustainability that food raises, which are so, obviously, you guys have had that drilled into your head probably at this point. Everybody knows the world's on freaking fire, right? And that we have massive challenges in front of us as a society. Even if we could solve the political problems, even if those went away, like climate change deniers and all that horseshit went away, dealing with the problem, just actually dealing with the problem, is monumental. It's monumental, right? And so being able to make simple, everyday choices that you're making multiple times in the day that have an impact on that, that seems like a good thing. So biochemistry of food, all right? It's the vehicle, something that you can hang your hat on. All right, the actual structure of this class, I personally thrive in a class of like 8 students or whatever. I like to talk to the students and get them to talk to me. I've never taught, at Colby at least, I've never taught a class quite this big before. So that's going to be a learning experience for me too. how to manage so many people and still give you a chance to raise your voices. That's what I want. Raising your voices, engaging yourselves, taking initiative, getting out of your chairs, maybe. I don't know. So the class is, I'm completely re-envisioning the class. Again, I don't know why. That seems like a good idea, but I am. So this is, this is the like basic grading structure that I have. All right, there's not a whole lot of details here because I'm going to be constructing it a little bit as we go along. All right. I have a couple exams here, midterm and a final exam, because I think exams are learning experiences. They should be an opportunity for you to see how well you are absorbing the material, and it's a good opportunity to learn how to study better. All right. So that's my approach to testing. It's not to punish you. It's certainly not, although sometimes it feels like I'm punishing myself by giving exams. But it is to help, just check in and see how your studying is going. You're studying in a class here that may have a different approach than your other disciplines. Like nobody here is a science major, right? Is anyone a science major? No one, yeah. So science classes do have their own sort of way of studying, and I want to help you to understand that. I would love to talk to any of you and give you suggestions about that. There's this, in the past, I've done a project where I've had students do these podcasts because there really isn't a text called Biochemistry of Food out there. Maybe one day when I really get my act together, I'll publish one. But there's not a good text out there scaled to this kind of thing. There's like food science text, but like this kind of a text, there's not. So I had been using podcasts as my text. There's a ton of really interesting podcasts out there, like popular science geared for non-scientists. And I have moved away from that, mostly because I just can't listen to 35 podcasts or whatever, 20 podcasts, how many ever you guys would make. So instead, what I'm going to do is have this video podcast or whatever, and I'll make bigger groups. I want 8 groups. I can handle that. I can deal with that. And so you're going to be in groups of 4 or 5, and you'll sort that out yourself. And you're going to make a video of some sort about a topic that relates to the class. Maybe it is how to cook something and the like underlying chemistry of that thing. Or maybe it is about the science behind how we get an avocado from like southern Mexico or from Chile to Waterville, Maine, without it being a mangled, disgusting mess. There is a little bit of science and chemistry behind that, right? Whatever, that kind of thing, whatever is interesting to you, and you'll work in a team to make these. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be interesting. It's supposed to give you a chance to let your personal strength out. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you're a poet. You want to like incorporate some poetry? Do that, please. God, that sounds great. Or you're an econ student and you want to like look at economic ramifications of some food science thing. Do that. That sounds cool, right? I'm into any of it. Just want it to be creative and fun. And I thought at the end of the semester, maybe for the Liberal Arts Symposium or something, we could have a Biochemistry of Food film festival after everybody gets their videos put together, and we'll get them to show it maybe down at the Railroad Square or, I don't know, on campus here someplace, who knows where. But it seems like that could be a fun thing. I don't know. I hope it works. Never done video with you guys. On Friday, I'm going to have Tim Stonecipher from Academic IT come in here, and he's going to talk about how to do that, like all the resources that are available for you, cameras, and like how to use video stuff. So it shouldn't be that intimidating. There are resources to help make this happen. Yeah. So then the next little item on this list is quizzes and small group activities. So I envision this happening on Fridays. I want to dedicate maybe half the class on Fridays to you not listening to me just talk, where this way you'll get to be in little groups. Maybe hopefully people will mix up a little bit. And sometimes there'll be quizzes. Maybe there'll be group quizzes. I've done that before. That might be fun. I don't know. But small group activities. I'm going to try to bake some of that in to the class. Does anyone know Alex Dorian? He's on the basketball team. Yeah, Alex is one of my, I have this like team of TAs this year, thankfully, and his job is to help me make the class more interactive like that. So hopefully there'll be some fun things. That's all going to go there under this like quizzes and small group activities. That's like, should be pretty easy points. And then class participation, show up. When I ask a question, don't stare at me like I'm a dead fish, that kind of thing, just participate. It's very subjective. Then there's this literature assignment. This is something that we'll get into the second half of the semester after the midterm. I envision this to be, I want students in smaller groups, like 2 or 3, to come up with some kind of activity. And this will kind of straddle lecture and lab. It'll be some kind of activity where we'll then go into the George Mitchell School and you'll work with a little group of I don't know, 4 or 5, second or third or fourth graders, something like that, and teach them how to cook something, like how to make the perfectly seared grilled cheese. We'll have a lab on how to do that, right? Or like just something fun, interesting, teaching where you get to teach about nutrition to some kids, like just giving them basic, some of that food sovereignty that I'm trying to encourage in you. Hand it on, right? So that's what that is. What I mean by literature assignment. And then lastly, this personal log. The personal log, I'll talk about that in a bit, but that's quite easy. That's 70% of your points, and then the other 30 is in the lab. There's going to be, I don't know, maybe like 8 different lab write-ups, and roughly equally weighted. That'll be 30% of your grade. That should be pretty easy points. Lab is not hard. All you got to do is do it. So, yes.
Is there a lab tomorrow?
No, hell no. First week, no.
Okay, I thought that. Just wanted to double check.
Nope. There would be lab. That would mean there was lab today. I should say this. There are a number of people that have been sending me emails wanting to switch. I need to go from like all these stories, long stories about switching from one section to another section. I can't do that. When there's like the perfect lottery happens and 2 people have complementary switches, I make that happen. That did happen for 2 people. But if you haven't heard from me, it's because I haven't heard anybody else that wants to move out of the section you want to move into and into the section that you want to move out of. So the best thing you can do is there anybody who wants to move to a different section, a lab section? That is, you do? Okay. Well, you should let me know. Oh, and you, both of you, if you want to, talk to me for 2 seconds after class, and maybe it'll help a couple of your students, because there's some students that want to move. Apparently, like Thursday's popular. People want to move into Thursday for whatever logistical reasons. So, whatever. Please tell me. And so we'll make that happen. Okay, the Moodle. I'm going to try. The Moodle from years past was pretty packed with stuff, so instead of just copying it, I ditched it, and I'm going to build the Moodle from scratch again this year. So it's getting slowly populated now with new stuff, but we'll try to put everything on the Moodle. So right now, this PowerPoint is on the Moodle. I will put all PowerPoints on the Moodle, at least after I talk about it. Sometimes I am like tweaking PowerPoints on the morning of, and I certainly don't have all the PowerPoints made for the semester, so that's going to happen as I go along. But I will put them on the Moodle, and record all of my lectures. And so these two things, the fact that I put all my PowerPoints up and I record all my lectures, is how I deal with sickness, or like I've got a track meet in Texas or something like that. Like I can't keep all that stuff straight, and so I just record everything, and you can watch the lectures and look at the PowerPoints, etc. That doesn't mean that, well, this does mean that if you're sick, I don't want to see you. I don't want to even come close to you, because you need to rest. You want to take care of yourself. That's part of the more fundamental ethos here of like, your top priority is not to get an A in this class. Your top priority is to take care of your personal health and well-being. It's to eat well. It's to get 8 hours of sleep every night. What? Yeah, I said 8 hours of sleep every night. Keep your stress down. Keep your stress down at like a 3 or below on a scale of 1 to 5. You're worth it. Every single person in this room is worth it. To keep your stress down. Keep it down. Don't let it eat at you. If you're in college and you're letting yourself get stressed out and freaked out by grade anxiety or whatever, what happens when you get out in the real world and people really don't have any compulsion to care, right? I do care. I'm here, and I'm helping you build that personal ethic for yourself. So if you're sick, just stay at home. Just stay at home. Get in bed. I'm never going to fault you. Like, tell me, oh, I'm sick. I'm feeling great. Cool. Stay at home. Secondly, because if I get sick, all of this shit falls apart. It's really, I definitely do not want to get sick. So please, if you're not feeling well, just stay at home. You can make up whatever. You can follow the class easily. That said, I do want you here. You're paying 60 grand a year to come to class and not just sit at home and watch my YouTube channel. So, you know, you can take any class you want at Stanford or MIT or Harvard, because they post all that stuff all the time. You're paying the money to be here and get access to me, right? That's the whole reason you're at, like, the justification behind a price tag like that is access, classroom access. The deeper thought here, maybe a pearl, is because that's the case, get the most for your money. Get the most out of your money and come to class prepared. That's a new one for some people. I try to put the stuff up. I will do my best to put stuff up ahead of time. If you look over the slides before you come to class, even for like 10 minutes, if you look at stuff before you come to class, I won't be spoon feeding it to you the first time. And you'll be able to recognize stuff a second time, so that being in class it's almost like reinforcing. You're reinforcing what you know already, and you can ask higher level questions of me, right? It's a better way to use your class time. Better way to use your class time. Come prepared. And that's a good habit to get into. When you get out of here, it'll keep you above the crowd of people who think they can just waltz in. That's a really good skill. Come prepared when you can. And I'm going to try my best to make it so that you can come prepared. I'll try my best to be prepared myself. In the Moodle, there's a course schedule spreadsheet. That is an active document. I have made it so that it is editable, because there's a couple tabs that I do want you to actually edit, but I don't want you to mess with the course schedule. Don't go in there and like change the topic that I'm going to talk about for the day. That won't work. I'm still going to talk about what I was going to talk about. This is going to confuse everybody, including me. But the course schedule is in there, and associated with each of the days are links to media. Right? It's like, oh, what's the reading assignment? Well, there's media. It's like there'll be maybe a New York Times article, or maybe there'll be a podcast, or maybe there's going to be a video of some sort. Just like that kind of media, so that you guys can get your heads wrapped around popular scientific communication, right? Just different modes of popular scientific communication. I try not to pick things that are boring. I got stuff in there about, yeah, environmental destruction and like genius suicidal Nazis and all kinds of weird stories. Why aren't we all eating bugs? The like all kinds of stuff like that. There's all sorts of interesting stories in there. So that is the kind of thing that's like supplement to the lecture, and I will ask. Sometimes we'll have activities. Our Friday activity will revolve around some of that stuff that I'm curating for you. So you'll find all of those links. Rather than posting them directly in the Moodle, I've put them in that spreadsheet, the course schedule spreadsheet. That's this weekly science media stuff. There's also some due dates in there. Those due dates are mostly for the lab. I don't really have a whole lot of due dates in the lecture, except for the video project. The video project, there are benchmarks. The first one is I need a topic by, what is that? Valentine's Day. Friday the 14th, I need a topic from your group. So group members and topic by Valentine's Day. And then the 28th, well, I got a list of them. You'll see them in a moment. The lifestyle log sheet is also on the lecture Moodle. You can download that and print it. I decided not print it for 42 of you, but you can go home to your dorm or whatever and print it out. And I'll show you what that means in a moment. Otherwise, on the lab Moodle, there's going to be a separate lab Moodle. When I only had one section, I've only had one section before, I just used one Moodle because everybody was there. But now, since there's 3 lab sections, I'm going to use the individual Moodles for each of those lab sections to keep my brain from exploding. So yeah, the lab instructions and the assignment submission stuff will be on there. Lab will start next week. All right. There is a course website, and that I will have you guys use at some point when our video project's done. It'll get posted. They'll get posted on this class website. Sometimes I'm going to direct you to some content that I put on here, just so you see it. The link is in the Moodle, or will be in the Moodle. I just realized I haven't put it in the new Moodle, but I will soon. Yeah, it'll be there. It's not 197, it's 135. They gave me a new number. But anyways, so here is what this lifestyle log looks like. And obviously I haven't updated this slide in a while. And I do this every time with almost every class because I feel like everybody could use a little bit of strengthening with this. Yeah, it's old school. I don't have some app. It's cool that your like Fitbit or whatever, your Apple Watch tracks all this stuff for you. And if you want to use that, that's cool. But then I want it analog. I'm old school. I just want like an analog piece of paper that has it on there. So what is it? It's this kind of thing. Each day, I'm trying to get you to be mindful about what the fabric of your life is, right? Like the basic fabric of your life. How many hours of sleep do you get in a night, right? Pay attention to that. And it helps look at trends. So one of the things that scientists do is collect data. Scientists collect data. And we interrogate data looking for patterns, right? And so you are going to collect data about yourself and interrogate that data looking for patterns, right? Does your stress go up when your sleep goes down, or does your stress go up when do you like eat more or less when you're stressed? Does like the quality of the food change when you're stressed? Like that kind of thing. Collecting data, information to help be observant, because at the bottom, that's what scientists are. They're observant. Yeah, and then the stress thing, like, so circle the stress thing here. Where are you? Where was your stress for the day? Today, I'm at like a 2. I'm a 2 today. I'm cool. Yeah, I'm not on vacation, but excited. First day of class. It's good. Yeah. All right. So the video podcast themes. Please look through the what is that called? The syllabus. It talks about this video project in much more detail than I'm going to take to do. But I give you some themes that you can think of if you're having a hard time, like wrapping your head around what you want to talk about. There's some stuff in there. You can ignore that if you want. Yeah, whatever's exciting to you, right? I'm going to flash past that to this one here. Video due dates, right? The topic due on Valentine's Day. Script. I want a script written out. And so when you come up with your group, you're going to assign roles to people. Not everyone's going to do the same thing. It should be relatively equitable, though, in the amount of work that each person does. And I'm going to use this this piece of software that'll help your group members sort of report on the various levels of participation of each member. But by Friday the 28th, I want a script. By the 3rd, I want people done collecting their footage. And then by the end of April, I would like it to be done by the end of April. Seems like that's possible. 8 to 20 minutes. Or maybe if you want to do it less, 5, you can like tell me why you want to do a shorter one. That's okay. If it fits into something, yeah, you can rationalize it. I'm not looking for pro-level video here, but what I am looking for is something that's interesting and engaging, cool content, and fun. I want it to be yours. This is your education. I just give you opportunities. So, all right. Next, let's do this before I have to let you out of here.